Hello and welcome to my presentation. My name is Ana Niño from the University of Manchester. As a virtual presenter to this conference, I will not be able to answer any questions you may have at the end of this presentation directly. However, you're very welcome to contact me in the email address provided at the end. My presentation today looks at the results of a survey on the use of mobile apps by students at higher education to learn about the language learners' perceptions and experiences on their use of mobile apps for independent language learning. So the discussion questions are the following. I will start by defining MOL and its relation to learning and call, for it provides the theoretical foundations of this investigation. Then I will be guiding you through the results of this study, which will provide answers to the questions: how do students use MOL? How do they perceive its usefulness? How MOL can be integrated in the class according to students? And what implications does this have for the future, both from the learning and the teaching point of view? So what is MOL? MOL describes an approach to language learning that is enhanced through the use of a handheld device or mobile technology, namely pocket electronic dictionaries, personal digital assistants or PDAs, mobile phones, MP3 players, and most recently ultra-portable tablet PCs. MOL is a subset of both learning and call, and its main advantage is the freedom to use language learning resources at any time from anywhere, as well as the freedom to communicate with fellow students and with the tutor. According to Kukulska, Hume and Leslie 2008, MOL differs from call mainly in its use of personal portable devices that enable new ways of learning, emphasizing continuity or spontaneity of access and interaction across different contexts of use. So how did it all start? Well, I was interested in the educational use of this ubiquitous mobile technology, given the growing availability of such devices in the class, and hence I wonder, what do the students think about its use for independent language learning purposes? So in autumn 2013, I ran a survey for language students at the University of Manchester. Participants ranged from credited students studying a language or more as their main degree, to credited non-specialist students, non-credited students, and members of the public. There was a total of 252 respondents, and the languages being studied ranged from widely studied languages such as French, Spanish, German, English, Arabic, or Chinese, to other languages such as Italian, Portuguese, Korean, or Urdu. As for the level of the language of the students participating, the great majority of them had an A1 level, 91%, followed by a B1, B2 level, 21 and 19% respectively, A2, 17%, with only a 14% having a C1 and just 7% with a proficient or C2 level. The following slides will provide us with some indication of how do higher education students use MOL. To the question, have you used mobile apps to support your language learning? 33% of the respondents replied often, followed by a close 31% sometimes. However, 36% of them had never or rarely used them, and this will show in their comments later on. The question, how often have you used mobile apps? Is clear that the great majority of them use them often or sometimes, with a total of 80%, as opposed to just 20% who never or rarely use them. With regard to the actual use of mobile apps for language learning, students were prompted with various suggestions of use, and these were the results by order of frequency. By far, the most frequent use was looking up words, phrases, and idiomatic expressions, with a 72% of responses, followed closely by translating words or phrases into the L1 first for comprehension purposes, and into the L2 secondly for production purposes. Two other main uses were listening how words are pronounced, looking for definitions into the target language, or revising and practicing vocabulary. This suggests that the meaning of small chunks of language and the pronunciation is at the top of students' priorities when checking their mobile apps and suggests we are mainly looking at beginners level students. Surprisingly, the conjugation of verbs have only a 31% of responses. This is a common concern at all levels, especially in Romance languages such as French or Spanish. Followed by looking up synonyms into the target language with 27%, which suggests a more advanced level. Reading use reported at 22% with apps such as ebooks, digital newspapers and magazines, followed by a 22% of grammar revision use, 21% listening use, mainly MP3s, podcasts and radio. Social networking had a return of 19%, followed by other leisure-associated uses such as listening to music, speaking to friends over Skype, watching authentic videos, playing games, chatting, professional networking, or checking infographics for inspiration. As for the usefulness of mobile apps for independent language learning, an overwhelming 88% of the students questioned consider them helpful for this particular purpose. Mirroring the results from an aforementioned question, 73% of the students thought the main usefulness of these apps is their helping increase vocabulary, the portability and freedom of use for extra practice at any time and at the student's own pace was regarded as the second most important practicality, followed by help memorizing 41%, reading comprehension 32%, and the fact that it makes revision fun 39%. Other ways in which students found mobile apps useful were in improving pronunciation and intonation, in sentence building and oral comprehension, which also suggests a lower level A1, V1. Or at least that the student is still exploring the first stages of learning a language. Last in the list stand help improve grammar accuracy and help write properly, which usually demand more formal learning and a more deep knowledge of the language, together with contextualized practice and feedback or some way of interaction. Most of the students questioned were widely aware of the various mobile apps available, and this showed in the answers to the question, can you mention examples of apps that you found useful for your independent language learning? These could be grouped in the following categories: dictionaries and concordance, translators, language practice, flashcards, conjugators, podcasts, newspapers, videos, games, notes, and messengers. Let's have a look at each of them. Within the section Dictionaries and Concordances, they will mention examples such as word reference with fast, accurate translations of words, idioms and collocations, and language forums to discuss various linguistic issues. The overlay Quick Dict and bidirectional offline dictionaries such as Dictionary CC or Arabic Dict, or even online dictionary apps such as Leopon's, Jisho for Japanese, Pleco for Chinese, and even a powerful combined offline and online dictionary plus concordancer such as Lingui. Within the section Translators, students mention translation apps such as Google Translate or iTranslate that they use to translate words between two languages back and forth quickly and easily. They are aware, though, that it does not work as well with full phrases, sentences to use in real life, or grammar. From Google Translate, they like that it produces a list of synonyms with the translation and that it enables audio so you can hear the words you are translating and input words into the translator through your own voice and play back the words. Language practice apps such as Duolingo, which students find good for revision or basic or more advanced language skills. The fun and interactive tasks help enhance reading, writing, oral and listening skills, and you can also set goals and do mini tests to monitor your progress and achievements. The comments on this app provide lots of clues of mobile features they value, such as the fact that they can have grammar and meaning explanations, translate to and from the language, practice their vocabulary and conjugations for a limited period of time, like for example 5 minutes, listening to the correct pronunciation of words, do speaking practice, and even compare themselves with their friends because the app is paired with Facebook. And they also like the fact that they receive a reminder to practice every day. Similar apps to Duolingo are Busuu and Babbel, a speech-to-test and text-to-speech app to practice accurate pronunciation of short phrases and sentences that challenges to repeat them correctly in 4 seconds. It has various levels to help you build up, and you're given feedback and you can see your improvements over time. Among the flashcard applications that they highlighted are Quizlet, to record their own vocabulary and be tested on it, Memrise, which combines memorizing and gaming features, and similar tools such as Brainscape and Anki. Many of them also suggested the use of conjugation apps such as iVerbs French, iVerbi for Italian, Wiktionary, or El Conjugador for Spanish. For listening comprehension, they seem to make extensive use of podcasting apps and tools such as iTunes Podcasts, with examples such as Notes in Spanish, Chinese Pod, Deutsche Welle, where they found useful its manageable speaking speed and transcriptions, France Culture, and GFS Radio Germany with different accents and increasing oral understanding. They also mention newspaper apps for reading and cultural awareness, and also oral comprehension skills such as Courier International, Der Spiegel, or El País. Video apps such as YouTube, RTVE, or Address Player. Games such as Mind Snacks, which are great incentives, fun, and allow you to unlock more games as you go up. However, they can get a bit repetitive. And note-taking apps such as Notes or Notability to write words and phrases and make learning more accessible. Finally, they also mention chat or messenger apps such as WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger to communicate with other people. Our research also looked into how can MOL be integrated in the class. To the question, would it be helpful if your tutor would embed the use of mobile apps for language learning as extra materials in class or via the VLE? A great majority of the students, 82%, found this sometimes 50% or always helpful, as opposed to 16% who would rarely or never find it helpful, mainly claiming that mobile applications are not for everybody, that they work best as additional optional practice to use in their own time for independent revision rather than as a main part of the course, and that not everybody has smartphones, so some people will be missing out. Among the suggestions for integration in a language course, students provided the following: giving links on the VLE to some useful apps and signposting this in class. If possible, link apps to pop up on your mobile to be able to learn at your own pace during the day. Set problem-solving tasks as homework or challenges within class, e.g. looking for synonyms of particular words or phrases. As a 15-minute revision exercise in class, or to incorporate interactive games to support covered topics per week, for fun extra practice on the move, together with vocabulary lists, translation of phrases and words, and short grammar or pronunciation online tests to help learning and progression, or even to compete against the class. And finally, we will discuss some of the pedagogical implications of the use of MOL for the future. From the results of this survey, we can conclude that among the pedagogical benefits of MOL, we can highlight its suitability for passive language skills such as vocabulary acquisition, written and oral comprehension, pronunciation, vocabulary and grammar practice in particular. Students also indicated that other advantages of their use include convenience, as a quick check, they are always available at any time and from any place, the use of authentic resources which always trigger cultural awareness for various language skills, the fact that they provide fun and interactive progression over a wide range of topics in a limited period of time, with immediate feedback and several opportunities to personalize its practice, for example, setting goals, creating quizzes on students' own creative resources, beating game scores, etc. Overall, it's clear that it has a lot of potential for blended and distance learning, and that it encourages autonomous learning, motivation, and, we believe, social interaction as well, especially if the app is somehow connected to a form of social networking or there is a degree of competition involved. On the other hand, some pedagogical hindrances identified include the fact that there is not much scope as of now for extensive practice of speaking and writing, as opposed to authenticity, like in some textbooks, words or phrases may sound obsolete or different to real life use. The free version of some apps may become boring and repetitive after a while, therefore affecting motivation. Students also realize that the quick automatic translation, especially of phrases and sentences as produced by apps such as Google Translate, cannot always be trusted. And it's also true, as identified by students, that this kind of technology is not suitable for all kinds of students and learning styles. That some of them may not have smartphones and would automatically be left out, and that some apps are just condensed versions of websites. Opposed to the easiness of use, some students appreciated is the fact that some apps feel like they need further guidance for the proper use and therefore are left unused. And finally, the fact that MOL does not always facilitate synchronous collaborative practice among students. We have seen a few example apps for this particular purpose, such as messenger apps or video conferencing apps. However, the use for independent language learning is still rather unexplored, and the design of the tasks and appropriate relevant context of learning would make it only suitable for one-to-one distance lessons, for example. In other words, students enrolled in a language course may still prefer the face-to-face interactive conversation practice with their fellow students, for example. This is all for now. Thank you very much for your attention to these slides. This final slide has my contact information, so please do not hesitate sending some comments, which will be greatly appreciated. Bye for now.